The signals are cut, the noise has faded. Welcome back to the Silence of the Black series. Today we walk together once more in the deepest corners of the universe, chasing the unknown. A new secret in every video, a moment of peace in every second. Don't forget to subscribe to stay with me on this journey. Take a deep breath. We are beginning. You stand at the edge of the forest as daylight drains from the sky. The sun has set, and the world is caught in that brief moment between day and night when colors fade and shapes blur. The trees become silhouettes, their details lost to the growing darkness. The air cools and the sounds of the day, birdsong, insect hum, distant human activity, gradually give way to the deeper silence of night. Then, without warning, a shadow detaches itself from the darkness. It is not that something appears, rather something that was already there begins to move. A shape that you had not noticed, that you could not have noticed, peels away from the trunk of an ancient oak and flows into the air. There is no sound, no rustle of feathers, no displacement of air. There is only movement, silent and fluid, as if the night itself has decided to take flight. The owl is invisible against the dark sky, but you feel its presence, sense its passage. It moves with a purpose that is ancient and absolute, a predator born of darkness, shaped by millions of years of evolution to do exactly what it is doing now, hunt in the void of night. This is the first lesson of the black owl. To dissolve into shadow is to become one with the night. The owl does not fly through darkness, it becomes darkness. Its feathers absorb light rather than reflecting it, its body creates no turbulence, its passage leaves no trace. It is a ghost made flesh, a shadow given form. You follow it with your eyes, though follow is not quite right. You track its movement by the absence it creates, by the slight shift in darkness that marks its passage. It circles above the forest, a silent sentinel, its head turning in ways that seem impossible, scanning the ground below for any sign of movement. The owl's ability to disappear into the night is not magic, it is biology. Its feathers are specially adapted to muffle sound, their edges fringed with soft barbs that break up the turbulence of flight. Its body is streamlined, its wings broad and silent. It does not need to see its prey to catch it. It needs only to hear it, to sense it, to know exactly where it is. But there is more to this dissolution than physics. There is something almost spiritual about the way the owl becomes one with the darkness. It does not fight the night, it embraces it. It does not illuminate the darkness, it joins it. The owl understands something that humans have forgotten, that darkness is not an absence of light but a presence of its own kind. You watch as the owl settles on a high branch, its form once again merging with the tree. You cannot see it now, cannot even guess where it sits. It has become part of the forest, part of the night, part of the ancient rhythm of predator and prey. The forest around you is alive with sounds that you cannot hear. The rustle of a mouse in the leaf litter, the heartbeat of a sleeping bird, the breath of a rabbit hidden in its burrow. The owl hears all of these, processes them, maps them in its mind. It knows exactly where every potential meal is hiding, and it waits. This waiting is itself a kind of flight. The owl is patient in a way that humans cannot comprehend. It can sit motionless for hours, its body still, its mind alert, its senses tuned to the slightest sound. It does not get bored, does not get restless, does not get distracted. It simply waits as its ancestors have waited for millions of years. The moon rises, casting pale light across the forest. For a moment, the owl is visible, a dark shape against the silvered sky. Then it moves, launching itself from the branch with that same impossible silence. It glides over the clearing, its wings spread wide, its talons ready. You see it now, a shadow against shadows, a ghost in the moonlight. It banks, turns, descends toward the ground. There is no sound, no warning, no chance for its prey. In the final instant, the mouse hears something. Perhaps the displacement of air, perhaps just the knowledge of death, but it is too late. The owl strikes and the mouse is gone. The owl rises again, a small shape dangling from its talons. It carries its prize back into the forest, back into the darkness from which it came. In seconds it has vanished, dissolved into the night from which it emerged. You stand there in the clearing, alone with the silence. The hunt is over, but the night continues. The forest settles back into its rhythm, the sounds gradually returning, the rustle of leaves, the distant call of another owl, the endless whisper of wind through branches. You think about what you have witnessed. The owl did not simply hunt, it became part of the night. It dissolved into shadow, moved with silence, struck with precision. Its flight was not a violation of the darkness but an expression of it. This is the wisdom of the black owl, that true power lies not in fighting against the darkness but in becoming one with it. The owl does not illuminate, it absorbs. It does not announce, it conceals. It does not struggle, it waits. The night deepens around you and you feel yourself beginning to understand. The shadows are not empty, they are full. They are full of movement, of life, of ancient rhythms that have been playing out since long before humans existed. The owl knows this, has always known it. And now, perhaps you are beginning to know it too. You look up at the sky, at the stars that have emerged while you were watching. They are distant and cold, but they are also guides, markers in the darkness that help creatures find their way. The owl does not need them. It navigates by sound, by feel, by instinct. But you need them and you are grateful for their light. The forest is quiet now, the hunt over, the owl returned to its perch. Somewhere in the darkness, it sits, waiting, watching, being. It has dissolved into shadow, become one with the night. And in doing so, it has taught you something about the nature of darkness, about the wisdom of silence, about the power of becoming nothing. You turn away from the forest, leaving the owl to its night. The shadows close behind you, and you carry with you the memory of that silent flight, that dissolution into darkness, that moment when a shadow became alive. The first lesson is learned. The owl's wisdom has begun to penetrate. The owl rises from its perch, and in that moment, the night becomes a canvas for geometry. What appears to the casual observer as random flight is actually a masterpiece of mathematical precision, a series of curves and angles calculated with an accuracy that would humble any human mathematician. The owl does not think about these calculations. It simply performs them, its body executing equations that have been encoded in its DNA over millions of years of evolution. You watch as the owl begins its hunting flight and you begin to see the patterns. It does not fly straight toward anything. It curves, arcs, spirals. Each movement is purposeful, each turn calculated to achieve a specific effect. The owl is not just flying, it is drawing lines in the air, lines that trace the geometry of predation. The first element of this predatory geometry is the spiral. The owl climbs in a widening circle, rising above the forest, gaining height and perspective. This spiral is not random. Its radius, its rate of climb, its center point are all chosen to maximize the owl's ability to scan the ground below. From this vantage point, the owl can hear every sound, detect every movement, map every potential prey in the area. You watch as the owl completes 3 full spirals, each one slightly offset from the last, creating a pattern that covers the maximum area with minimum overlap. This is optimal search theory in practice, a mathematical approach to finding prey that humans have only recently begun to understand. The owl has known it for millennia. The spiral tightens as the owl detects something below. You cannot hear what it hears, cannot see what it sees, but the owl's flight changes instantly. The wide, searching spirals become tighter, more focused, centered on a specific point in the forest below. The owl is zeroing in, narrowing its search, preparing for the next phase of the hunt. This is the second element of predatory geometry, the descent curve. The owl does not simply drop toward its prey. It follows a carefully calculated path that minimizes the chances of detection while maximizing the chances of success. The curve is parabolic, a shape that allows the owl to maintain visual contact with its prey while keeping its own body oriented for the strike. You watch as the owl follows this invisible curve, its body angled precisely, its wings adjusted constantly to maintain the perfect trajectory. The mathematics of this descent are staggering. The owl must account for its own speed, the wind speed and direction, the movement of its prey, the distance to the ground, and dozens of other variables. It does all of this in real time without conscious thought, without hesitation, without error. The prey, a small rodent moving through the leaf litter, has no idea that death is approaching from above. It cannot hear the owl's approach. The specialized feathers have seen to that. It cannot see the owl. The darkness hides it completely. It cannot sense the owl. The bird's flight creates no pressure wave, no disturbance that the rodent's sensitive whiskers might detect. The owl is invisible, inaudible, undetectable. But the owl's geometry is not yet complete. As it nears the ground, it must make one final adjustment, the strike angle. This is perhaps the most critical calculation of all. If the owl comes in too steep, it risks injury on impact. If it comes in too shallow, the prey may have time to escape. The angle must be perfect, and it must be adjusted continuously as the prey moves. The owl's head, which can rotate 270 degrees, keeps the prey fixed in its sight. Its body adjusts, tilting, turning, following the prey's movements with a precision that seems impossible. The owl is locked on, committed, inexorable. In the final instant, the owl extends its talons. This is not a simple grasping motion. It is a complex calculation of timing and position. The talons must reach the prey at exactly the right moment, at exactly the right angle to ensure a clean kill. Too early and the prey might dodge. Too late and the owl might miss entirely. The timing must be perfect. It is perfect. The talons close around the rodent, and the owl's momentum carries it forward, then up, curving away from the ground in a smooth arc that distributes the impact forces evenly. The prey is dead before it knows what happened. Its life ended by a geometry it could neither see nor understand. The owl rises again, its prey secured, and begins a new spiral, this one carrying it back toward its perch, back toward the place where it will consume its meal in peace. The spiral is different now, wider, more relaxed. The hunt is over, and the owl can afford to take its time. You stand in the darkness, replaying the geometry you have just witnessed. The owl's flight was not random. It was a series of mathematical decisions, each one executed with precision, each one contributing to the success of the hunt. The spiral, the descent curve, the strike angle, each element was essential, each calculation perfect. You think about what it would take for a human to replicate such geometry. You would need sensors to detect the prey, computers to calculate the trajectory, engines to power the flight. You would need years of training, sophisticated equipment, constant maintenance. The owl does it all with flesh and blood, with neurons and feathers, with instincts honed over eons. The owl settles on its perch, and you can just make out its silhouette against the slightly lighter sky. It begins to eat, tearing small pieces of flesh from its prey, swallowing them whole. The geometry of consumption is simpler than the geometry of the hunt, but it too has its patterns. The owl eats methodically, efficiently, wasting nothing. As you watch, another owl appears, drawn perhaps by the sounds of feeding or by some signal you cannot perceive. It circles above, a second set of curves drawn in the night sky. The first owl ignores it, focused on its meal. The second owl, seeing that the hunt is over, spirals away, disappearing into the darkness. This interaction too is geometry. The second owl's approach curve, its assessment of the situation, its departure spiral. All of these are calculated, though the owl does not calculate them consciously. They are part of the predatory geometry that governs every aspect of an owl's life. You realize that you are surrounded by this geometry. The forest itself is a geometric construct, with trees spaced according to the logic of competition for light, with clearings shaped by the fall of ancient giants, with paths worn by the passage of countless creatures. The owls navigate this geometry effortlessly, reading it as easily as you might read a map. The night deepens and the owls become more active. You see them everywhere now, not with your eyes but with your newly awakened awareness. You sense their spirals and curves, their descents and strikes. The air is filled with invisible geometry, with the traces of countless hunts happening simultaneously all around you. A vole moves through the undergrowth and instantly, 3 owls adjust their flight. You see the geometry shift as each owl recalculates its position, its trajectory, its chances. One owl commits, beginning its descent curve. The others break off, resuming their search spirals. The geometry of competition is as precise as the geometry of the hunt. The descending owl follows its parabolic path, and you watch with new understanding. You see the angle of its dive, the position of its talons, the timing of its strike. You see the vole's last moment attempt to escape, a desperate dash that is too little, too late. You see the owl rise with its prize, completing the geometric cycle. This is predatory geometry. This is the mathematics of the hunt. This is the owl's ancient wisdom made visible. The night continues and the geometry continues with it. The owls hunt, feed, rest, hunt again. Their flights trace endless patterns in the darkness, patterns that have been repeated for millions of years, patterns that will continue for millions more. You stand at the center of this geometric web, a witness to calculations that no human could perform, to precision that no machine could match. You are learning to see what has always been there, to understand what has always been true. The owls are teaching you. The night is teaching you. Geometry is teaching you. And the lesson is only beginning. The owl descends through the darkness, and for the first time, you focus not on its trajectory but on the instrument of its silence. The wings that carry it through the night are not like the wings of other birds. They are something special, something evolved, something that scientists have spent decades trying to understand. They are the secret of the owl's stealth, the source of its phantom flight. You move closer, as close as you dare, and examine the wing in the faint moonlight. What you see is unexpected. The leading edge of the wing, the part that first cuts through the air, is not smooth. It is serrated, lined with tiny comb-like structures that look almost like the teeth of a saw. These are the primary feathers, and their edges are fringed with stiff, comb-like projections that break the air into microscopic turbulence. Behind these serrations, the wing surface itself is covered with a velvety nap, a soft, fibrous texture that absorbs sound rather than reflecting it. This is not fur. It is a specialized feather structure that traps air and deadens vibrations. When you run your finger across it, you feel nothing but softness, a texture that seems to swallow touch as it swallows sound. The trailing edge of the wing, where the air flows off, is also specialized. It is frayed, tattered, ragged, but deliberately so. The trailing edge feathers are fringed with soft, hair-like barbs that break up the turbulence that would otherwise create the whooshing sound of normal flight. By the time the air leaves the wing, it is moving so smoothly that it makes no sound at all. You realize that you are looking at millions of years of evolution compressed into a single structure. Every aspect of this wing has been optimized for silence. The serrations, the velvet, the fringes, all work together to achieve what seems impossible: flight without sound. To understand why this matters, you must understand the physics of sound production in flight. When a bird flies, its wings push against the air, creating pressure differences that generate lift. But these pressure differences also create sound. The air flowing over the wing becomes turbulent, and this turbulence produces the whoosh, the flap, the rustle that we associate with flying birds. For most birds, this sound is irrelevant. They do not need to hide their approach from prey that cannot hear them anyway. But for an owl, sound would be fatal. Its prey, mice, voles, shrews, have exceptional hearing. They can detect the slightest rustle, the faintest whoosh, and they will flee before the owl can strike. The owl must be silent or it will starve. So evolution has crafted this wing, this masterpiece of biological engineering. The serrations on the leading edge break the air into tiny vortices, too small to generate audible sound. The velvet surface absorbs any vibrations that might otherwise escape. The fringed trailing edge smooths the airflow, eliminating the turbulence that would create noise. The result is a wing that moves through the air like a ghost through a wall. You watch as the owl banks and turns, and you notice that even these maneuvers are silent. The wing adjusts, its feathers shifting and rotating, maintaining the silent airflow through every angle. The owl is not just flying, it is carving silence from the air itself. Scientists have studied these wings for decades, trying to understand their secrets. They have built wind tunnels, recorded sound spectra, analyzed feather structure under electron microscopes. They have learned that the serrations on the leading edge reduce noise by creating a cushion of air that smooths the flow. They have learned that the velvet nap absorbs sound across a wide frequency range. They have learned that the fringed trailing edge disrupts the formation of the vortices that create the whooshing sound. But replicating these features has proven difficult. Engineers have tried to create silent fans, silent wind turbines, silent aircraft, using owl feathers as their inspiration. They have made progress, but they have not yet matched nature's design. The owl's wing remains a pinnacle of engineering that humans can admire but not duplicate. You watch as the owl extends its legs, preparing to land. Even this movement is silent. The legs, too, are feathered, the feathers extending all the way to the talons. When the owl lands on a branch, there is no sound, no scratch, no thump, no indication that anything has landed at all. The owl simply appears as if it had always been there. This is the secret of velvet plumage. This is how the owl moves through the night without announcing its presence. This is how it can drop from the sky and snatch a mouse that heard nothing, suspected nothing, knew nothing until the moment of death. You think about the implications of this silence. The owl is not just a predator. It is a demonstration that sound can be defeated, that movement can be hidden, that presence can be concealed. In a world full of noise, the owl has found a way to be silent. In a world full of motion, it has found a way to be invisible. The owl preens, running its beak through its feathers, maintaining their structure. These feathers are not permanent. They wear out, get damaged, need replacement. The owl will molt and grow new ones, each generation of feathers as perfectly adapted as the last. The silence is not a one-time achievement. It is a constant process of renewal. You reach out not to touch, but to feel the air around the owl's wing. Even this close, you detect nothing. The air moves smoothly, silently, as if the owl were not there. The wing creates no turbulence, no disturbance, no sign of its passage. The owl is a hole in the world, an absence that moves. The science of this silence is complex, but its effect is simple. The owl can hunt where others cannot. While other predators announce their presence with sound, the owl remains hidden. While other hunters alert their prey with every movement, the owl moves unseen. The velvet plumage is not just a feature, it is a superpower. You watch as the owl takes off again, launching itself from the branch with no sound, no push-off, no indication that it has moved. One moment it is there, the next, it is in the air, already curving into its hunting spiral. The silence is so complete that you question whether you really saw it move at all. The wing beats and you strain to hear something, anything. There is nothing. The air parts silently, flows silently, closes silently. The owl could be inches from your ear and you would not hear it. This is not stealth, this is erasure. You think about the evolution of this silence. It did not appear overnight. It developed gradually over millions of years as owls that were slightly quieter survived to pass on their genes. Each generation added a little more silence, a little more stealth, until the modern owl emerged as the silent hunter we know today. The process is not complete. Evolution never is. Owls continue to evolve, their feathers continuing to adapt to changing conditions. In another million years, they may be even quieter, even more stealthy, even more ghost-like. The pursuit of perfect silence never ends. You watch as the owl catches a thermal, rising without a single wing beat. The silence continues unbroken. The owl spirals upward, disappearing into the darkness, leaving no trace of its passage. It could be anywhere now, anywhere in the vast night sky, and you would never know. This is the secret of velvet plumage. This is the source of the owl's power. This is why it rules the night while others sleep. You stand in the darkness, listening to the silence, feeling the absence of sound. The owl is out there somewhere, hunting, moving, living. You cannot hear it, cannot see it, cannot sense it. It has become one with the night, a creature of pure stealth. The velvet feathers have done their work. The owl is invisible. The night is silent. And you are learning. The owl glides through the absolute darkness and you wonder how it sees. The moon has set, the stars are hidden behind clouds, and the forest below is a void of absolute black. No human eye could perceive anything in this depthless dark. Yet the owl flies with perfect confidence, its trajectory unwavering, its focus absolute. The answer lies not in the owl's eyes alone, but in a sensory system so sophisticated that it borders on the supernatural. The owl does not need light to see, it needs only sound. Its face is a satellite dish, a biological radar that captures the faintest whispers of the night and transforms them into a detailed acoustic image of the world. You move closer, examining the owl's facial structure. The disk of feathers surrounding its eyes is not decorative. It is a sophisticated sound-gathering apparatus. Each feather is curved and positioned to channel sound toward the ear openings hidden beneath. The disc is adjustable, the owl able to change its shape to focus on different directions, different distances, different frequencies. The ears themselves are asymmetrical. In most owls, one ear is higher than the other, sometimes by as much as a centimeter. This asymmetry allows the owl to detect sound vertically as well as horizontally. When a sound reaches the owl, the slight difference in arrival time between the two ears tells the owl exactly how high the sound source is. Combined with the horizontal information provided by the usual stereo hearing, the owl can pinpoint sound in 3 dimensions with astonishing accuracy. You watch as the owl tilts its head, a motion so characteristic of owls that it has become a symbol of wisdom. But this tilt is not thoughtful, it is computational. The owl is comparing the sounds reaching its 2 ears, calculating the precise location of a mouse rustling in the leaves 50 feet below. The calculation takes milliseconds, and the result is exact. The mouse moves and the owl's head follows, tracking the sound with movements too fast for the eye to follow. The owl is locked on, committed, already beginning its descent. The mouse has no idea that it has been detected, that its fate is sealed, that death is falling toward it on silent wings. But sound alone is not enough. The owl must also integrate visual information, even in near total darkness. Its eyes are among the most specialized in the animal kingdom. They are enormous relative to its skull, tube-shaped rather than spherical, giving them tremendous light-gathering power. The retina is packed with rod cells, the photoreceptors responsible for low-light vision, far more than any human eye contains. You look into the owl's eye and see something remarkable. The pupil is huge, dilated to its maximum, drinking in every photon that exists in this lightless world. Behind the retina, a special reflective layer called the tapetum lucidum acts as a mirror, bouncing light back through the photoreceptors, giving them a second chance to capture it. This is why owls' eyes seem to glow in the dark. They are reflecting light that has already passed through them once. The combination of these adaptations gives the owl visual sensitivity that humans can barely imagine. In conditions that would leave a human completely blind, the owl can see details, movement, shapes. It cannot see color. The rods that provide night vision sacrifice color sensitivity, but it does not need color. It needs only to see the mouse, to track the mouse, to catch the mouse. But even this remarkable vision is not enough in the deepest darkness. When clouds cover the moon and stars, when the forest floor is truly black, the owl must rely on something else: its memory. Owls have been shown to remember the layout of their territory in extraordinary detail. They know where every tree is, every rock, every potential hunting perch. They fly through absolute darkness not by seeing but by remembering. You watch as the owl navigates through a dense grove of trees, its body twisting and turning to avoid branches that you cannot see. It does not hesitate, does not slow, does not miscalculate. It knows this space intimately, has flown through it thousands of times, could navigate it with its eyes closed, which in effect it has. The owl's brain is constantly updating this mental map, incorporating new information from every flight. When a branch falls, when a new tree grows, when the landscape changes, the owl notices and adjusts. Its territory is not just a place. It is a living model in the owl's mind, a simulation that it runs continuously as it flies. You think about the computational power required for this. The owl's brain is tiny, smaller than your thumb, yet it performs calculations that would challenge a supercomputer. It processes sound in 3 dimensions, integrates visual information, updates a mental map, plans flight trajectories, all in real time, all without conscious effort. This is not intelligence as humans understand it. It is something more fundamental, more ancient, more efficient. The owl reaches the edge of the grove and pauses, perching on a branch that you cannot see but that you know is there because the owl is there. It listens, scans, waits. Somewhere below, a vole is moving through the grass, its tiny feet making sounds that the owl can hear but you cannot. The owl's head tilts, tracks, calculates. The vole stops moving, perhaps sensing danger, perhaps just pausing. The owl waits, patient, motionless. Minutes pass. The vole begins to move again and the owl's head follows. The calculation is complete. The owl knows exactly where the vole is, exactly how far away, exactly what trajectory it will take to intercept. The owl drops from the branch, silent as always. It falls through the darkness, its wings barely open, using gravity rather than flight to approach. This is even quieter than flying, the owl becoming a falling stone, a silent missile. At the last moment, the owl spreads its wings, flares its body, extends its talons. The vole hears something, perhaps the displacement of air, perhaps just the shadow of death, but it is too late. The talons close, the vole is dead, and the owl is already rising, carrying its prize back into the darkness. You stand in the aftermath, marveling at what you have witnessed. The owl did not see the vole, not really. It heard it, calculated it, remembered the space it occupied. The owl's world is not visual. It is acoustic, spatial, mathematical. It is a world of vectors and probabilities, of sound shadows and echolocations. This is infrared precision, though not in the thermal sense. The owl does not sense heat. It senses absence, presence, movement. It constructs reality from the faintest clues, from whispers that humans cannot hear, from memories that humans cannot form. Its precision is not measured in degrees or pixels. It is measured in successful hunts, in lives sustained, in generations continued. The owl settles on a perch to eat, and you watch as it consumes its prey. Even this is precise. The owl swallows the vole whole, later regurgitating the indigestible parts in a compact pellet. Nothing is wasted, nothing is inefficient. The owl is a machine of precision, honed by evolution to do one thing perfectly. You think about the implications of this precision. The owl does not make mistakes. It does not miss, does not miscalculate, does not fail. When it commits to a strike, the strike succeeds. This is not luck. It is design. Every aspect of the owl's biology is optimized for this moment, for this precise intersection of predator and prey. The night deepens and the owl finishes its meal. It wipes its beak on the branch, a gesture that seems almost human, almost thoughtful. Then it launches itself again, resuming its hunt, its patrol, its endless search for the sounds that mean food. You follow though you cannot keep up. The owl moves through the darkness with a confidence that you cannot match, a certainty that you cannot comprehend. It knows where it is going, knows what it is doing, knows why it exists. You are the one who is lost, the one who is uncertain, the one who questions. The owl pauses again, listens again, calculates again. Another prey, another trajectory, another perfect strike. The night is full of these moments, these intersections of hunter and hunted, these demonstrations of precision. You realize that you are witnessing something ancient, something that has been happening on this planet for 50 million years. Owls have been hunting like this since before humans existed, since before the continents took their current shapes, since before the dinosaurs died out. They have perfected their craft over countless generations, each one building on the successes of those before. The precision you are witnessing is the accumulated wisdom of 50 million years of evolution. It is not learned, it is inherited. Every owl is born with the potential for this precision, with the neural circuitry already in place, with the instincts already programmed. They do not learn to hunt. They simply hunt, their bodies knowing what their minds have never been taught. You watch as another owl joins the hunt, this one younger, less experienced. Its strikes are less precise, its calculations less accurate. It misses once, twice, 3 times. But with each miss it learns. Its brain adjusts, its instincts refine, its precision increases. By the end of the night it will be better. By the end of the season, it will be as good as the adults. By next year it will be teaching its own young. This is the cycle of precision, the endless refinement of the hunt. Each generation adds a tiny increment to the collective knowledge, a slight improvement to the inherited instinct. Over millions of years, these tiny increments add up to the astonishing precision you are witnessing tonight. The older owl makes another kill and the younger watches, learning. It notes the trajectory, the timing, the angle. It files this information away, adds it to its growing database of successful strategies. Tomorrow night it will be a little better. You stand in the darkness, surrounded by these invisible hunters, these masters of precision. You cannot see them, cannot hear them, can barely sense them. But they are there, everywhere, their silent wings carving the night, their focused minds calculating trajectories, their perfect strikes ending lives. This is infrared precision. This is the owl's gift. This is what 50 million years of evolution looks like. The night is far from over, and the owls are far from done. They will hunt until dawn, until the first light drives them back to their roosts. They will make kill after kill, each one perfect, each one precise, each one a testament to their design. And you, the witness, will watch until you cannot watch anymore. You will learn what they have to teach. You will carry their wisdom with you into the daylight. But for now there is only the night and the owls and the endless precision of the hunt. The night deepens toward its darkest hour, and the owls have led you to the threshold of understanding. You have witnessed their silent emergence from shadow, traced the geometry of their hunt, explored the velvet secrets of their plumage, and marveled at their infrared precision. Now, as the hours before dawn stretch into an endless present, you are ready for the final lesson, the obsidian path. The obsidian path is not a physical trail. It is the route the owl takes through the deepest part of the night, through the hours when even the moon has abandoned the sky and the stars offer only the faintest guidance. This is the time when most creatures sleep, when the world holds its breath, when the darkness is most absolute. And it is the time when the owl is most alive. You watch as an owl leaves its hunting ground and begins a different kind of flight. This is not the spiraling search for prey, not the calculated descent toward a target. This is something else, something deeper. The owl rises higher and higher until it is barely a speck against the black sky. It is heading somewhere, but you cannot tell where. The owl's flight is steady, purposeful, almost meditative. It follows a line that only it can see, a path that exists only in its memory and instinct. This is the obsidian path, the route that connects the hunting grounds to the roosts, the feeding areas to the nesting sites, the known world to the unknown. You follow, though following is difficult. The owl moves through darkness that is complete, through air that offers no landmarks, through a world that has been reduced to pure space. Yet it never hesitates, never wavers, never loses its way. The path is written in its being, as surely as the migration routes are written in the blood of the reindeer. The owl's flight takes it over terrain that you cannot see but can sense. Forests below, their canopy a darker darkness against the sky. Rivers, their surfaces reflecting the faint starlight. Meadows, open and exposed, where prey might be found but where predators might also lurk. The owl notes all of this, processes all of this, adds it to the ever-updating map in its mind. You realize that the owl is not just flying, it is thinking. Its brain is processing information constantly, integrating new data with old memories, updating its model of the world. Every flight adds to this model, every hunt refines it, every night deepens it. The owl's knowledge of its territory is not static. It is alive, growing, evolving. The path curves, following the contour of a ridge that you cannot see but that the owl knows intimately. This ridge is a landmark, a waypoint, a piece of the owl's mental map. The owl has flown this route thousands of times, knows every tree, every rock, every potential perch along its length. It could fly this path blind, which, in effect, it is. You think about what it means to know a place this deeply. To have every feature memorized, every danger cataloged, every resource mapped. The owl does not just live in its territory, it is its territory in a way that humans can barely comprehend. The boundaries between self and world blur when the world exists primarily as a model in the mind. The owl reaches a high point, a dead tree that stands alone on a ridge and perches. It sits there motionless for long minutes. What is it doing? Is it resting? Is it scanning for prey? Is it simply being? You cannot know. The owl's mind is closed to you, its thoughts inaccessible. But you sense something, a quality in the air, a shift in the night. The owl is not just resting, it is communing with what you cannot say, with the night itself perhaps, with the darkness that is its element, its home, its identity. The owl sits on its dead tree, and the night flows around it like water around a stone. This is the obsidian path at its deepest, not a route from one place to another, but a state of being. The owl is not going anywhere. It is simply here in this moment, in this darkness, in this perfect stillness. The hunt is over, the prey is consumed, the body is at rest. There is nothing left but the owl and the night. You stand below watching and you feel something shift in yourself. The restlessness that has driven you through the night begins to ease. The questions that have pressed upon you begin to fade. The need to understand, to categorize, to explain, it all falls away, leaving something simpler, something quieter. You are here. The owl is here. The night is here. That is enough. The owl launches again, not toward anything, not away from anything, just launching. It flies a slow, wide circle around its perch, a kind of ritual, a kind of prayer. Then it straightens and continues along the obsidian path, deeper into the night. You follow, though following is no longer necessary. You know where the path leads now. It leads nowhere and everywhere. It leads to the heart of the night, to the core of darkness, to the place where the owl becomes one with its element. The terrain below changes. You sense open water, a lake perhaps, or a wide river. The owl flies low over it, its wings almost touching the surface. The water is black, perfectly black, absorbing all light, reflecting nothing. The owl's shadow, if it had one, would be invisible against this blackness. This is the obsidian of the path's name. The perfect, lightless black of deep water on a moonless night. The owl flies through it, over it, becomes part of it. There is no distinction now between owl and night, between hunter and darkness, between self and world. You feel yourself being drawn into this blackness, not as a physical thing but as a state of mind. The boundaries that define you, your body, your thoughts, your identity, begin to soften, to blur, to dissolve. You are becoming part of the night as the owl has always been. The owl reaches the far shore and rises again, climbing toward the ridge that marks the edge of its territory. It perches once more on another dead tree, another high point, another place of communion. The night is at its deepest now, the hour before dawn when the darkness seems eternal, when light feels like a memory rather than a promise. You stand below and you feel the weight of this moment. The entire night has been leading to this. Not to a kill, not to a lesson, not to an understanding, but simply to this. This stillness, this silence, this perfect union of creature and element. The owl sits motionless and you stand motionless, and the night holds you both. Dawn is coming. You can sense it even in this deepest dark. There is a quality to the air, a shift in the pressure, a change that the owl feels too. But the owl does not move, does not prepare, does not anticipate. It simply sits, being what it is, where it is. You think about the path that has brought you here. The shadows dissolving into flight. The predatory geometry of the hunt. The velvet plumage that silences the air. The infrared precision of the strike. And now, this final stillness, this obsidian path that leads to the heart of darkness. The owl has taught you all of this, not through words, not through lessons, but simply by being. By existing as it has existed for 50 million years. By hunting as it has hunted for 50 million years. By being silent, being precise, being still. The first light touches the highest clouds, a faint gray that is barely perceptible. The owl notices, though it does not react. The night is ending, and with it the owl's time of hunting, of flying, of being. Soon it will return to its roost, to sleep through the day, to wait for the next night. But for now there is still this moment, still this darkness, still this stillness. The owl sits on its dead tree, and you stand below, and the night holds you both. The gray spreads slowly, inevitably. The stars begin to fade one by one. The horizon, invisible all night, begins to define itself. The world is returning, the night retreating. The owl stirs. It turns its head, looking toward you for the first time. Its eyes, huge and dark, meet yours. For a moment, you feel seen in a way you have never been seen before. Not judged, not evaluated, not understood, simply seen. Then the owl launches, not toward anything, not away from anything, just launching. It flies a slow circle around its perch, a final ritual, a final prayer. Then it straightens and flies toward the forest, toward its roost, toward the day that is coming. You watch until it disappears, until it becomes one with the trees, until there is nothing left but the memory of its flight. The obsidian path is complete. The night is over. The owl is gone. You stand alone at the edge of the forest, watching the dawn paint the sky in shades of gray and gold. The world is waking, the sounds of day beginning to replace the silence of night. Birds sing, insects hum, the distant rumble of human activity resonates. But you carry something with you from the night. Something that the owl gave you without knowing it gave. Something that you cannot name, cannot describe, cannot explain. It is the memory of perfect silence, of perfect darkness, of perfect stillness. The owl is sleeping now, hidden somewhere in the forest, waiting for the next night. And you, the witness, are walking toward the day, carrying the owl's wisdom in your heart. The obsidian path has ended. The journey is complete. The silence remains.